Today is Friday, January 17th, and today's agricultural fact of the day, probably the last one to be on this social media platform, TikTok. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram, and I still have yet to create another educational Facebook page, but I do have to create another one. The one that I have has limited monetary abilities on longer form videos, so I am going to create another one. This is now after the end of the school day, and I have had a chance to create my new Facebook page to serve as a replacement for the TikTok app. And apparently somebody created a fan account for me back in September and started posting my videos. So if you go to Facebook and look up Ag with Katie Matrowski, it's the picture of me with the sheep, the one that's my profile picture on this app. And I did make a post. If you scroll down, it says, "This is my new page to connect with my followers and post educational videos." This is a legit page, so look for that. The domain itself, so I owned the domain Ag with Katie Matrowski, but it was connected to my Farm Life with Kay Matrowski educational Facebook page. So I am in the process of getting that transitioned over to my new page. So just make sure that you're looking. I will post today's Ag Fact on that page on Facebook as well. Also, who thought that I was cool enough to create a Facebook page about me and then proceed to post videos on it? But there's only 2 followers, so I don't know. They thought I was cool, but apparently I'm not cool enough. But if you would like to catch more agricultural facts of the day, feel free to find me on those platforms. Same name. Minnesota and Illinois sue John Deere over right to repair restrictions due to the limitation of farmers being able to repair their own equipment or going to a mechanic other than JD themselves, which is caused by the proprietary technology in their computer systems that run the tractor. Ironically, John Deere also just announced that they are expanding self-repair options for farmers by enabling customers and independent repair technicians to reprogram Deere manufactured electronic controllers. Coincidence? I just found this incredibly interesting that when I went on agdaily.com, because sometimes that is where I pull my agricultural facts of the day, these articles were pretty much side by side, and it was hard to figure out which article came first because there was no timestamp on them. But it is interesting if somebody were to stumble upon these articles on Ag Daily and had no premise of the situations of which have occurred, it would have been very interesting. Now, I had not really touched on this in my introduction to agriculture class, so this did provide me an opportunity to educate the kids on John Deere and the technology that exists in their relatively newer tractors, and how the older tractors didn't really have those restrictions when it came to repair. Anybody could really do the repair. I myself grew up with my father repairing pretty much all of our tractors when we had issues with them. And even our own tractor to this day that my husband and I use on our farm is actually older than me. And it's a, 1970s, I think, John Deere 2030 diesel. And it is old, reliable. And I told my students, this tractor is older than me, but I swear I am going to run this thing into the ground, because the last thing, when I hear these nightmare stories about regenning, I would not be able to mentally handle that. Or the restrictions of the computer systems within them. Now, I'm sure that there will be people that comment on this video and argue the other side of it, of why John Deere needs to be so secure with their technology. But I did compare some things that kids could real world relate to, because the kids in that class aren't farmers. The kids in my 8th grade class aren't really farmers. You may have a couple here and there, but most of them have no experience with that. But I compared it with smartphones, first of all, because you have, and it's a broader type of comparison, right? It's more loosely compared, but there are still points here that can be applied to either situation. Apple devices, when you buy an Apple device, you know what you're getting and you can't really change it. The software inside of it, you can't just upload a different operating system. You can't really change the appearance of that. It is what it is. And when it comes to repairing or trying to change it, Apple is very restrictive on that, as opposed to Android type devices, which are very well known for being able to have more flexibility with, whether It is the outward user interface or the actual internal programming pieces of it. It's a little bit more user-friendly when it comes to individuals that want to change things on their phone. Where iPhone, you're kind of locked into whatever updates that they provide. The appearance of what you have is what you have and you can't change it. I kind of compared John Deere to that a little bit, because when it comes to the software and you can't just reprogram a tractor, and when it comes to troubleshooting, it is, thankfully I've never experienced it firsthand, but I've heard nightmare-ish stories. So if you also have a story of when you were trying to operate a tractor to get a job done and all of a sudden it decided it needed to go into regen mode, or you're trying to get something repaired quickly because, as I told the kids, again, you're making hay when the sun is shining, and if you are in the middle of a field trying to get that hay raked so that you can bale it and get it away before the storm comes in 6 hours, you don't have the time to sacrifice at that time. And then it allowed me to go into a little bit more of why it is important for farmers to be able to accomplish the job at hand when they need to, especially when it comes to hay or specific crops, because with hay, you may get several cuttings off of a field, but if you own this property and you are paying taxes on this property and you have a payment potentially on this acreage, you need to show some income in order to afford that and be able to cover your bills. And if hay is your source of income and you are not able to get it done when it needs to be done, then it can cause a whole bunch of issues if it gets rained on, and then the re-raking process and the molding and the decomposition of the leaves and the breakdown of the general nutrition value of that hay. So I apologize if I just over-explained that for all of you, but that was just a little bit of a conversation that we had in that intro to ag class. As I told them, if you have livestock that you're feeding at home, you may be able to relate to this. I know personally my sheep love the leafy parts of that hay, and they're going to leave the semi stuff. Anything that is overly tough or coarse, they're gonna pick through it. And if you leave half of the leaves out in the field because it got rained on and then started to decompose and break down, that's not going to be a very good nutrient value hay. Anyway, so I got way off on this topic like I did yesterday with my egg fact with my 8th graders, but they learned something today. I am confident in that. So for those of you on the platform getting banned, I hope you enjoyed your last agricultural fact of the day. I hope that you choose to come find me on the YT app if you want to continue to get these ag facts and the free education, or at least free information to start getting the wheels turning and maybe prompt your thought process about things that you've never thought about before. Aside from that, we are in mad contest preparation mode right now. I am burning the candle at both ends, and I am thoroughly exhausted day in and day out. I have 2 conduct of chapter meeting teams that I am working to prepare for our district level speaking contest, which will take place on February 8th. And I have a parliamentary procedure team. A few of those members are starting from complete scratch. And then I have many kids signed up for individual contests. When I sent an email out a few days ago, the total was around 30 kids that will be coming with me. And although the person that's currently covering our second ag position is very helpful and he will help out when asked, it's a little bit more challenging because I'm the main mode of contact for these kids. So when it comes to preparing and collecting the materials that need to be submitted ahead of time and proofreading and getting them critiqued and all of that, it's just a lot. So if you're considering becoming an ag teacher, just mentally prepare yourself for the craziness. Not to mention, there's also a college trip in there, February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, which is an overnight trip that we will be going and visiting the ag colleges with other schools. It'll be a great time. I know it will. It's just hard because my schedule right now is a literal tire fire. I am off Wednesday next week for an appointment, and Friday I have the New York State Beef Producers Association annual meeting and conference. So it's just too many irons in the fire right now, and it's not going to get better until like June. But I guess the craziness of FFA just makes me earn this shirt a little bit more that I got at National Convention a few years ago from the NAAE booth. And this rings so true, and I always love picking up these shirts at National Convention. So if you are an ag teacher or going to be an ag teacher, make sure that if you go to nationals, you get all of the free t-shirts, which I can't remember what I had to do to earn this one, but it is very applicable.